Yeah, so there's a few different topics that have been coming up that are really hurting the investment into China. Now, the thing you have to understand is that China has always really relied on foreign investment to make their economy work.
That's how China grew.
Yeah.
It didn't grow by itself. It wasn't like all of a sudden, let's just make money.
No.
They allowed foreign investment in, special economic zones like Shenzhen, etc., where they just opened it up for foreign investment.
Yep.
Foreign companies came in, could take advantage of the cheap labor and build factories and so on. Without foreign investment, China would still be the same as it was back in the 70s and 80s, where they were just starving, basically, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, the thing is, like, under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, and then you had Hu Jintao.
Yeah.
You had Jiang Zemin were very pro foreign investment because it was making China come into the modern era.
Yeah.
The thing is, with Xi Jinping, when he consolidated all of his power, the current dictator of China, what happened was he's always been anti-America, right? He's always been very anti-integration. He's very pro, like, we are the best because we are the best, right?
Yeah, cut everyone else off, you know?
Yes, cut everyone off. Very, very, what's it called? Very ethnocentric.
Yes, that's the word.
Han chauvinist, like Han Chinese people are superior. Like it's really pushed this really nasty, almost fascist way of nationalism in China.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you obviously have a propaganda machine that pushes this narrative to the people, right?
Yes.
Now, amongst this, people start to believe it, and the leadership even starts to believe it. It becomes a cycle. It becomes this kind of self-defeating machine, right? In this process, you end up in a situation where you drive investment out. You drive companies to leave. You drive companies to try to find supply chains elsewhere because China doesn't look like a palatable place to want to set up shop.
Yeah.
When you have the government saying, we have to own 51% of your company. We have to have a party office to watch everything you're doing. We have to have access to all of your data. We don't like the fact that you are a competitor to a Chinese company, so we'll kick you out. Then people go, wait a minute, I'm not going to do business here anymore.
Yeah, why do business in that hostile environment?
Why do it?
Yeah.
This self-defeating property also, or this self-defeating machine also kind of creates a system where people think, well, we didn't need that anyway. We didn't need the foreign investment because we did this ourselves.
Yeah.
Our China is so strong that we made it, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is more and more regulations come out that keep driving these investors away. And one of the new ones is the bankers, people involved in the banking sector.
Sure.
A sector that desperately needs help in China to revive the economy.
It's in a
post-COVID.
bad way right now.
It's bad, right? They are now forcing the people in the banking sector to study Xi Jinping thought instead of finding creative solutions to resurrect this dying economy. And I'm not overstating it. China's economy is in a very bad state.
Yes.
When you do this, you create this vicious propaganda circle that doesn't offer any solutions to the problems at hand. Xi Jinping's not an economist.
No, that's the whole point. How dare they mandate that people have to study his thought to somehow fix the economy?
Yes.
He doesn't know. He really doesn't know.
No.
He probably only knows what's for lunch and dinner, which is pork, by the way.
Every time. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, he doesn't know. Yeah, what the hell? Like, okay, our banking sector is failing. I know what we're going to do. The economy is going down the toilet. We will mandate that everybody has to study Xi Jinping thought and study his books because that's going to fix it.
So people in the banking sector are now saying, by the way, that they have to study or read 4 books of Xi Jinping per month.
4 books.
And then write reports on it. Right? And this is part of this cog is called xuexi.cn. This is a website we pulled up. Qiangguo.
Isn't
it's
it?
like a study to make China strong is what
And
this
here's
is.
the thing, and this might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but the character for Xi Jinping and xuexi means study, right? And the second character, the Xi,
yeah.
is the same as like Xi Jinping. So now they say xuexi, but it doesn't mean study. It's like study Xi Jinping.
Yes, it's
so
a
it's
play
this
on words.
wordplay thing, and they've got this ridiculous thing where, yeah, I mean, just look at this crap. Yeah, you recorded this, right?
Yep.
So this is the xuexi.cn, and you go there and you can download the whatever
The app
and all that nonsense.
to study Xi Jinping
You're
thought.
studying this man.
Yeah, I mean, this is straight up North Korea.
Yeah.
I'll pause it there while I talk about this.
Yeah, I
have
like
a
this. Above the navel pants, Xi Jinping over there. What are you
Yeah.
going to study this man? Do you want to look like him?
They all do. Look.
Yeah, true.
So this is I believe a professor said, every hour workers spend doing something else is an hour that they aren't doing their jobs. And that was from Victor Xi. If you think about it, China's economy right now is rolling down a hill, really. The last thing you want people to do is sit there reading stuff that's not relevant and then testing them on that.
So they have to like sit down and have a test.
Yes.
And like, do they have to like write essays about it?
Yes, they have to write essays and then penalize and remove them and fine them for not doing that, but it has nothing to do with their banking performance.
And I think this is something people don't understand about Chinese companies, is the fining thing.
Yes.
Because this used to happen in the companies I used to work in as well. Like, for instance, when I worked for the rapist in the rapist school.
Right.
If somebody was like a minute late, they would fine them. And by fine, I mean they deducted money from their salary.
Yeah.
And the salaries are not big. Okay.
Oh, they're bad in China.
I think the salary for the receptionist there was something like 3,800 RMB a month. Okay,
$500 a month.
yeah, and the fine for being late a minute was 250 RMB.
Whoa!
So and they used to have like a sheet where like there'd be basically a narc who sits there and like someone comes a minute
That's very
late,
China.
they'd be like write down their name and the time and all that, and then at the end of the month that person loses money. Like if they didn't bow or something, or they didn't do something, if they wore their shirt a little wrong, or they didn't have their pin on, because we used to have to wear these lapel pins there, right? Which was stupid. If you didn't have the lapel pin on, or it was skew or something, there's another fine. So if you don't watch yourself, you could actually have no salary or even negative salary.
Yeah.
And so like that's what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
If they don't answer the questions right or write a good essay about Xi Jinping's thought, they're going to get their salary docked.
Yeah, here's another quote. Even if time spent studying Xi Jinping thought is unlikely to appear in any formal economic models, it's symptomatic of the government's elevation of politics above everything else.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is. It's watching the economy go downhill, say, why is this happening? Driving foreign investment out, and then punishing people, making them study a dictator's thought that has no idea about the economy.
Yeah.
It's so self-defeating.
That's dumb.
A Beijing-based state energy company said employees said that they're increasingly being dragged into impromptu training during working hours. Such sessions, often centered around Xi's latest remarks, so it's like what he said last week,
Okay.
were held at an isolated facility where mobile phones were confiscated, making it hard for workers to reach out to them just in case of work-related emergencies. According to these employees who asked not to be identified as the matter is private, some bank executives and business heads have to take around a third of their working time. This is the important figure here.
Yeah.
Studying Xi Jinping thought. A third of their working time.
So dumb.
That's productivity, right?
Yeah.
Which is already low in China.
Yeah.
Joining activities and courses or reading 4 books from Xi every month. Attendance is mandatory this year. So this is the first time it's become mandatory.
Okay.
And they also need to submit papers on what they've learned. At the same time, bankers have seen steep cuts in salaries and the rollback of many perks, such as business travel, all to comport with a key tenet of Xi Jinping thought, common prosperity. And common prosperity is kind of Xi Jinping's namesake.
Yeah.
It's the idea that there's no such thing as the American dream. They ridicule the American dream, that you can become something better than what you imagine.
Yes.
Common prosperity means that you won't go high, but
you won't go low.
everyone will
You'll
be
just,
fine.
Everyone will be just like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have,
That's the Chinese
you'll have
dream.
food on the table. It might not be nice food, but you'll have food.
It's called the 中国梦. 中国梦 means that
Chinese dream.
Yeah. It means that you never achieve excellence, but you'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's the 中国梦.
What a dream to be mediocre.
Let's aspire.
That's
why China's the leader in innovation, right? As they say.
Yeah,
It's bullshit.
It is absolute nonsense.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on, I just wanted to show you can skip past that.
I don't know. I think everybody just needs to see how ridiculous this is. There's like hammers and sickles everywhere. It's like Xi Jinping this, Xi Jinping that, Xi Jinping everything.
I like how the QR code to download the Xi Jinping app follows you everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, stay here.
So is this not having an effect on, foreign companies that are...
Massively. Massively. You
Like
think this is
investment
palatable
people?
to people that want to go bring investment? The only people pushing for investment into China are bad people. If you
Yes.
see people that are trying to get you to invest in China, it's because they don't want to lose what they put into it.
Yeah, it's because they've got too many things going,
Yes.
at the time. Look at those stupid books of Xi Jinping down there. They look so lame.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm against book burning, but not in this case. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just, how about, maybe don't burn them, just drown them.
Drown the books in the
Yeah.
flood. The next part of this,
Yeah.
and why the economy is doing poorly, or we could say a symptom of this, is to understand the difference between inflation and deflation, because currently it's looking like China's about to head towards deflation.
They already have experienced deflation now for at least a month.
Yes.
We're still waiting for more statistics.
I should say acknowledged deflation.
They acknowledged it.
Now, here's the thing. China, when they had a really big scramble at the last second to go out there, and there's a quote.
You're not, by the way, you're not even allowed to say deflation.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
From Fuling Hui, which is the National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay.
Right? So they work for the CCP, right? They said, there is no deflation in Chinese society, and there won't be in the future. And when that statement was made, that becomes canon. That's doctrine. That means you can't see, like, it will be illegal to say that there's deflation in China.
Yeah, so you just can't say there's deflation.
No.
That means there definitely is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, to understand this, you have to understand what inflation is, because I want to headline this with a hilarious quote.
Okay.
From some freaking douche on, I think it was Instagram or something.
Yeah.
But they said, look at the Biden administration bringing us into inflation while China's already figured out how to use deflation. And everyone's like, bro.
Look, I mean, neither of us are economists, but we both know that that's some BS right there.
Deflation is very, very bad.
Yeah.
It is quite possibly the worst. If you were to study basic economics, it's the worst thing that can happen to an economy if it's for the negative reasons.
Yeah.
Now, inflation, right? Prices rising up. The cons that you keep hearing, the bad things about inflation, is that stuff is more expensive.
Yeah, stuff costs more.
Right? But there's a reason. There's a reason that stuff costs more. It's because there's a higher demand for stuff.
Yes.
People have higher paychecks. They want to buy more things.
Yeah.
Inflation needs to be cooled when it gets too hot.
Yeah.
But inflation, to a certain degree, is a good thing.
Well, it just shows it's a healthy economy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go buy a car. There aren't enough cars to go around. That means everyone's got money.
And it also helps economies grow,
Yeah.
right? If you have a situation where people want to spend a lot of money because they're flush, even if thing is driving up costs, it means the economy is going to grow.
Sure.
Right? Deflation is it's not only the opposite, but it's scary because it's when it's gotten to the point of no return. Deflation is when there's less money supply, government spending, right?
Yeah.
There's consumer demand and business investment all tanking.
Yeah.
All four of those things just start heading down the hill, rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
And it affects prices. It makes prices lower. And people would say from the outside, maybe that don't understand this, say, oh, well, a cheaper good is a good thing for people.
No, it's not.
Deflation means people don't want to spend their money because they have no hope for the future.
Well, you could simplify it and just say if you're a shop owner and you've got bread and you're trying to sell it for like $1, nobody's buying it because no one has that money.
Yes.
The only thing you could do is cut your prices. So you sell it for 50 cents.
Yes.
People start buying it, but then you don't have enough profit to pay your staff. Everything runs down. You can't pay your rent. So it's actually negative for everybody.
Called producer price decline.
Yeah.
Producer price decline is not what you want to see. You don't want to see people having to adjust their prices down to get people to buy their product because then the profit margins aren't there. It's really kind of just picture a toilet when you flush a toilet.
Downward spiral.
It's going like this. And actually, there's a good graph. I know these are kind of ghetto images, but I thought they're easier to explain than just writing text on the screen.
What's this clip art nonsense?
The next one here is what's going to explain.
Oh, the next one. Okay, so not the sad face.
Deflation ends up leading to a period of declining prices in goods, right?
Man, you love these spiral things. I saw this last week too.
This is important, though.
Yeah.
If you can picture this, you'll understand deflation.
Right.
Get us out of there.
Okay.
There's no reason.
You don't want to be part of this
deflationary
spiral?
So you imagine this. Let's use an example. As you said, bread, right? Imagine there's falling demand for bread. People don't want to buy bread anymore, right?
Yep.
Actually, let's use something that's actually being hurt right now. Automobile prices.
Okay,
sales,
sure.
Right?
Cars, right?
I'm not going to go buy a car. Are you going to go buy a car if you're thinking that the future economy in the next 5 years is probably not going to do very well?
No. I mean, it's the thing is, you don't know if you're going to have a job. You don't know if you're going to have the money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go buy a house.
No.
If I was in China right now and I see all these problems with the real estate market, I see the fact that we were locked away for 3 years because of COVID, and my future's just not all there. I'm not going to really want to put that much money down because I don't know if I'm going to have a job to pay for it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. So that means you got a falling demand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next step in that is you're going to have falling prices. Like you said, you're going to try to make that good more appealing to the customer because they're not buying it anymore. But if it's cheap enough, if you have a car and you slash it in half and you're like, well, I know the economy's not doing well, but I can afford half the price.
Yeah.
Right. Next, what do you have? You have debt defaults. Banks are loaning people money to buy houses and things like this, right? You're not going to be able, if no one can pay it back, what do you think is going to happen?
Debt defaults.
Then you have bankruptcies. You have people and businesses declaring bankruptcy left and right in China, right? Then you have layoffs and wage reductions. So people aren't going to be able to afford to keep their staff up. They're not going to increase their scale. They're not going to increase with the economy. They're going to contract.
And so then those people can't afford the product. So then because now they don't have a job anymore. Yeah, it keeps going.
You understand, deflation is one of the worst things that can happen to you.
Yes.
Just from a year earlier. So looking at July, right?
Yeah.
July, we saw a 0.3% decrease in consumer prices. China doesn't have decrease in prices like that. Yeah. That's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be 6% growth, right?
Yes.
And on a bad quarter, right?
Yeah.
If you're watching prices already coming down over the past year, and also 4.4% decrease in producer prices, we're already in deflation.
Yeah, of course.
They're already in the bad part.
Yeah.
The problem is that in a healthy economy, you might have other sectors that can kind of help out, right? In China, the vast majority of people, their investments are not in other sectors. They're in property, which has already seen a collapse. You can remedy deflation by getting people to spend money. Yes. And you can have a certain amount of federal control really over the economy.
Well,
right?
I think isn't that why Biden sent checks to us or whatever during
Correct.
COVID?
You can
inject, here, man, go buy some stuff.
Right. You can inject money into an economy to make sure that this doesn't happen, right? Which eventually will lead to inflation of some sort, right?
Yeah.
But deflation with China, they can't inject in any more money because every time they bail out a property company, because people pretty much only want to invest in property, right? In China, there's no reliable way to invest your money. Then you're in a situation now where property companies are defaulting.
Yeah.
They're defaulting on the loans that the government tried to bail them out with.
Yes.
They can't even build the houses that people have already bought
and are paying for.
They're paying mortgages on houses that will never exist.
Yes.
It's a massive bubble that has already started to be penetrated by deflation. It's wicked bad.
Yeah. It's
for lack of better words. So they're looking at people not able to remedy the deflation. We're probably looking at a huge recession coming to China.
I think so.
Maybe even a depression.
Oh, yeah. I would guess so. Anyway, what are these headlines you got going over here? Many wealthy people are considering leaving China. What do you mean considering? They already have.
For sure. But the thing is, they couldn't during the COVID period.
Right.
I collected these headlines over time, and they're starting to make sense now. Right.
Okay.
You have Yuan loses core support as firms leave China. These are all economy magazines.
Got to work that core.
More millionaires are expected to leave China this year than any other country as the end of COVID zero allows them to finally relocate. People that have money leave. They don't stay.
Dude, not people that don't have money leave. We've seen all those refugees in the middle of wherever, coming into the States through the borders. Now they're just mostly Chinese.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Foreigners pull more money out of China in May, so it's foreign companies as well. It's investment firms. They don't want to be in China.
Nope.
China, the factory of the world, is losing more of its manufacturing export dominance. Latest data shows. So not only, I wanted to say something that was very successful. If this was the goal, okay, and you can play this stuff while we talk about it. The idea was that for foreign investors, foreign companies and stuff, if they diversify their supply chain, if they want things to not be locked up in this place that's going to shut down for 3 years.
Yeah.
Think about Xi Jinping's zero COVID policy.
Sure.
Ruined everything, right?
Yeah.
You're probably, as a person that, let's say I have a factory that makes buttons, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go, wow, my factory was shut down. I lost all of my profit.
My staff couldn't come to work.
My staff couldn't come to work.
I still had to pay rent.
I had to pay, whatever
and
cost.
government taxes and stuff.
Yeah, taxes, all this kind of stuff. I had to pay operational costs to the Chinese government just to operate in China.
Yeah.
Why would I keep my factory there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So then you start thinking about diversifying your supply chain. You're like, well, maybe I'm not going to pull completely out of China. But what I will do is maybe I'll move one of my factory locations to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Or India or wherever, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll even pull it back home to the US.
Sure.
Right. It makes more financial sense to have a more stable environment to produce your stuff.
Correct.
China's arrogance has created a situation where people have woken up, and if I give you a challenge. If you go out there and you buy a knickknack or a doodad, right, or a light or an electronic thing, there's a large chance now you're not going to see made in China anymore because people already have voted.
You'll see Thailand or Vietnam.
Thailand, Vietnam, I see everywhere now. India. You are now starting to see different countries pop up for manufacturing bases, and that happened way faster. Remember, people were like, that's going to take 15 years to move a supply chain out. It already happened.
Yeah, for a lot of things, yeah.
For a lot of things, and that actually ended up completely wrecking China's economy and causing a lot of this deflation, causing a lot of these economic woes, is because people did leave. And again, not to go back to the past, but when we were in China, China's growth largely happened because there was foreign investment into China, and that foreign investment's not happening anymore. And it's emblematic of a problem when you see propaganda in overdrive right now. Absolute overdrive right now to say the economy is booming.
Yes.
We've fudged all these numbers. Look at how amazing. When you're stooping to the most minute levels and saying, look at, there's a lot of people in line to buy something.
Yes.
And then posting it out there. Look, China's
we've got
great.
an example. We've got an example coming
Then
up.
you know something bad is happening.
Honestly, whenever you see propaganda out of China and they say one thing, it means the absolute opposite is currently happening.
Yeah.
Okay? It's kind of hilarious.
Would you like to show that example?
Yeah, I'll show that example. Let me just fast forward a little bit and I'll get to it. This is just some footage of us going through ghost towns. And, we've seen it firsthand.
Seen it all.
We've done it all. And that's why we can talk about this stuff, guys. It's not because we're some kind of armchair critics or whatever you want to call us. We've actually been there. Yep. We've actually done it. We've lived it, okay?
It's a disaster. Yeah. It's a disaster. It's been a disaster waiting to blow up for a long time.
Yeah. Especially this housing market. It's ridiculous. Didn't that whole new country garden thing go down as well? Yeah,
then that was all part of that, right? Another property company.
Because you've heard of Evergrande.
Yeah, there's another one. And it doesn't even matter. You don't even have to continue saying this. The property market in China is collapsing. Yeah. And I'll give you a personal example. A person I know had a 6 million RMB apartment. Yeah. So let's say...
That's like $1 million US dollars.
Almost $1 million US dollars, right?
Yeah.
The yuan is weaker now, but let's just say it's $1 million US dollars. They just sold it for 500,000 RMB. Right. So what is 500,000 RMB nowadays?
I have no idea, but it's a hell of a lot less than $1 million US dollars.
So they sold $1 million. They sold $1 million apartment for $69,000.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, if you ever want to know what's happening. The opposite. You just have to look at flat cap propagandist over here.
Works for CGTN, right?
Yeah. He says, the view from the ground in China is packed restaurants, full trains, and lines for street vendors. Consumption is way up.
Is it?
China's hashtag economy is booming. How can you say that? That's
because
so
it's your job.
Dumb.
That's your job. When they have these knee-jerk responses, what's happening is the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Lining up for 5 quiet dumplings
doesn't mean the economy.
Mean the economy is
you will always have people going to shops. Yeah. They have to.
Yeah.
They're just not spending on big things. That lining up for that bubble tea is not lining up for a new car. Toyota or something, or a BMW. It's a different kind of a deal. You can go to like any crowded area, any shopping area you want, anywhere in the world, and say, look how good the economy is because people are buying things.
Dustin Pearson says, best research ever.
I know. This is like, where are your citations, bro?
I mean, this is regarded. This is dumb.
Yeah, seriously. China's economy is booming.
This is, you got to go to a different area to study special things.
Yes,
this is
what it is.
You're not cut out for this.
Guys, real economists are putting out the legitimate information.
Dude, I got some of this information from China's own economy think tank.
Yes.
And imagine if they're saying some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. You know how bad it is?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
You can never trust propagandists that work for the Chinese government.
No, let me read this. Beike Research.
Beike, yeah?
Okay, Beike Research, a Tianjin firm. Prices of existing homes in 100 cities across China have fallen an average of 14% from their peak in August of 2021. So Beike, a Chinese government think tank, right? Or at least has to operate under them, right?
Yes, yeah.
is saying that prices of housing has fallen 14%. If they're saying that for whatever propaganda purpose that is, can you imagine the reality? Well, I just told you the reality: 6 million RMB to 500,000.
I also don't understand, where does this consumption is way up come from?
Because there's a kid buying dumplings.
Consumption is massive when I was in China. Consumption of street food and stuff.
It's up. Consumption's way up.
I would say it's way down looking at that, because I've been in more crowded places in China, and I've seen much more consumption than that.
Jason Smith. Yeah. This is incredibly embarrassing.
Yes, stop.
Even for a propagandist, we avoid a lot of the shill propaganda stuff because it serves no purpose other than to like further promote them. But this was so epically dumb that we had to put. And you won, dude.
Yeah, if you want to see what's wrong in China, look at this and just do the opposite.
This is the dumbest thing I've seen all year.
Yeah,
easy.
China's economy is booming. Yeah, look at this.
Consumption
that means
way
like
up.
the mandate's gone up. Listen, guys, the economy's in the toilet. We got to try to pretend and tell the rest of the world that it's actually doing very well.
Yes.
It's like freaking kindergarten level stuff. It's crazy.
Absolute. It's special behavior.
It's very special.
Yeah.
Paneri boy, of course.
Paneri boy.
Oh, the fair rabbit child, piano boy. Crocodile. Okay. New Bailanera, New Bunrin, YG, New Bailun, New Bailun Loop.
New Bailun Loop. You buy one pair, you get 3 pairs for free.
So it can't be very good.
You mean Aglo device?
Agloids.
This is the blessing from gods.
This is the blessing from gods.
You cannot get alcohol at Taco Bell. People are getting blown away by Taco Bell being on a plate.
Changing a bunch of keys in this thing and go, you know what I mean?